You are now listening to the voice of horror.
Lock your doors, bolt your windows, and turn off the lights. Make sure the kids are safe at home, cause you're headed to the Nightwatch zone.
You think it's over now. You're wrong.
All aboard the night train.
It's over, Prime.
This is the siege.
I'm a man of my word.
Hey. Yeah. Dead or alive, consider this home. No killing the vibe in the Nightwatch zone. Xenomorphs hype when the lights come on. Hit like and subscribe and the show might blow. Go viral, no COVID. It's a spiral. Emotions, hand on the Bible. Only go sign on the dopest your vitals. Better tune in, yeah, you know it's vital. From Schwarzenegger to Kane Hodder, Corey G down to Harry Potter. Shit's Sigourney Weaver, love the Nightwatch zone. Come with me to the Nightwatch zone.
Well, there are two things a man should never run from, even if they cost him his life.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, ready to rock and roll on a Thursday night. And tonight, special guest and someone that I've known for a while, and I'm so glad that he was able to come on here. First time, I've got Ken from Mid-Level Media. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I feel like I've known you and your channel for a couple of years now, maybe 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I feel like I found you through Phil's creepy videos.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So yeah, I remember getting in quite a few of your live streams.
Man.
Back in the day. I still watch you from time to time. Still subscribe. Still paying attention. You're killing it, man. Doing some good stuff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Well, you're killing it too, man. And like I said, for me, getting a chance to talk to other content creators, first of all, is a really cool thing, getting a sense of their story and all the inner workings. And like I told you, man, even right backstage before we went live, when I think of physical media, and just the work ethic, staying on top of things, you always come to my mind. And I follow you too, obviously. And get my info from you. So anyways, it's great to have you on here, and we're gonna have some fun, man. And for you guys here in the live chat, welcome. We'll give you guys a blanket hello, but let's just see who we got going on. Hey, it's David. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, bro. Saying, hey, Night. I've been catching up on your interviews.
in the chat.
That's true. Yes.
Me and David live like maybe an hour away from each other.
That's cool. Have you guys ever hung out, met, or anything?
No, I've never been to. I want to go to Scarefest at some point, because that's the big horror convention in Kentucky. I've just never got a chance to go.
Okay. All right.
Maybe there. I think you might go there.
Nice.
But no, we definitely need to hook up at some point.
Yeah, man. David's been, a big part of the community for a long time. Known him for a long time too, but it's great to see you, David. Hope you're doing well. He's saying he's been catching up on the interviews. Yeah, it's been some fun ones, man. It's been some fun ones supporting the home team, Kentucky, tonight. All right.
Yeah, that was cool that you got Catherine Mary Stewart's on for sure.
Bro, she was so awesome. Cool, man. Yeah. Like, and we'll get into what we got to get into, but she was so cool to talk to, even before we went live and then after we were done. She was just like such a down-to-earth, humble, kind, friendly lady. I have nothing but total admiration.
And she's getting a lot of 4K love this year, because The Last Starfighter came out on 4K from Arrow a couple months ago, and Night of the Comet.
That's right.
It's coming out from Scream Factory pretty soon.
That's right. First of all, I love Night of the Comet. Are you a big Night of the Comet fan?
So I saw it for the first time, and this will probably be a consistent theme in this live stream. I'm find myself watching a lot of movies for the first time in the past few years, but I think I saw it for the
Mhm.
first time 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, man, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. But yeah, she's awesome. She's totally awesome. Val, thank you for reminding people. Definitely hit the like button if you haven't already. Obviously, subscribe. But as importantly, make sure if you're not subscribed to Ken's channel, I've got the link in the description. And Val, if you can put the link in the live chat as well, that would be absolutely cool. Very, very cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, Russell, Cinnamon. Let's see. Philip, what's up, Philip? Good to see you too. Jason's in the chat. What's up, Jason? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. John, what's going on? What's going on? And I
What's
think
up,
I'm
John?
almost caught up. And there's Carrie. Carrie's in the chat. What's going on, Carrie? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Rick, what's going on? Good evening, all. My first live stream. Well, welcome, welcome. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to be getting some really cool details on Ken and his journey. It's going to be, really really cool to hear. I'm really excited about this. Gary, Gary started off quick. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that. You're all right. Saying showing some love and also a warm welcome to Ken.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's
Thank
cool.
you.
You're sweet. Carrie, you're all right. Thank you so much for the super chat. You know we love you so much. I know she loves this clip. I'll play this one for you, Carrie. This is the Carrie clip, as she likes to call it. Here we go.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, bitch.
There you go.
Is that
There you
Barbarian?
go. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it
Uh,
still needs a Blu-ray, by the way.
right? Yeah, man. I want it on Blu-ray.
Those dirty,
What's up,
rotten
basement?
son of a guns from Disney.
Right? Oh my gosh. Carrie saying that made my day. Well, that's all that counts, Carrie. We're here to please. We're here to please. And if you guys have any questions for Ken, feel free to throw them out. We'll get to as many as we can. But definitely feel free to throw some questions out as well. But Ken, let's start this thing off, man. For those in the live chat or those watching this replay that may not know a lot about you and all the work that you've been doing on your channel and in your community, which is a huge community, an awesome community. How about you just let folks know a little bit about you and also about your channel and the things that you're working on?
Yeah, of course. I focus primarily on my channel on physical media. You know,
Mhm,
upcoming Blu-ray and 4K releases. I cover a lot of news bits, and I basically aim to inform as many people as possible on what's coming. Also, like what's out already, what deals there are, what the best way is to find, a physical media release, maybe.
mhm.
And I do reviews of new releases and stuff. I just dropped a review today. We got So I Married an Axe Murderer on
I love
4K,
that
which
movie.
was super awesome release. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I try to do as many reviews and kind of news announcement bits as I can. I do a show on Monday called the Physical Media Report, and that's kind of like my all-in-one report where I try to gather all the news that's come out over the past week and break it all down for everybody in a small, digestible 25 to 30 minutes.
Mm,
Some weeks there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Some weeks not so much, but I mean, people say physical media is dead. I feel like, and if you go into Walmart or Target,
mhm.
you might think that, but we're
Right.
still getting 50 or 60 releases like a week.
Mm,
Some weeks are definitely smaller, some weeks are bigger. There's still tons of stuff coming out, so there's always tons of stuff to get into and cover. So that's basically um, my aim on my channel is just to keep people up to date on everything that's happening in the world of physical media.
yeah, man. Absolutely. And Carrie saying, I just subbed to Ken's channel. Everyone
Thank
do
you.
the same. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And thank you, Val and Carrie, for putting Ken's link in the chat. Much appreciated. You guys rock. Always there to help out. David poking some fun. I was thinking this too, man. Ken slowly coming over to the dark side, the vinyl world. So
I
you
got
were,
two vinyls recently.
so one of them was The Thing, which
Yeah, yeah.
which to me is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, thank you for
bar
putting
none.
Kurt Russell from The Thing on the thumbnail too. That's
Yeah.
that's definitely a top 3 horror movie for me.
Well, I thought to myself, man, I got to put something that I think kind of speaks. And it's funny that David brought this up because to me, you talked about how kind of starting to get into vinyl is going to be a whole new rabbit hole, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like you got to be careful. And I really thought that that was kind of pertinent to not only what you do on your channel, but the state of physical media and for people that want to get into it, how do they keep their sanity as well? Because there is a lot out there, and
There's a
you
lot.
could, yeah, man. I mean, so, anyways,
I
but
always tell everyone that don't look at everything that I'm getting and bringing in. I'm a bad example, because my goal, I have the channel, and my goal is to cover as much as I possibly can. So there is
right,
absolutely stuff that I am getting. Now I'm very fortunate enough to, I'm getting some review copies from studios and other boutique labels and things like that, stuff that I don't have to purchase myself, but I'm still spending hundreds of dollars of my own money every single month on physical
mm,
media. My goal is to always cover as much as I possibly can. So there's stuff that I'm getting that I wouldn't get if I didn't have a channel.
that's a
So
good point.
I tell people, I'm like, get what speaks to you, what you like.
Mm,
And if you feel like you have to get something because somebody else is getting it, like don't ever have that mindset.
mm,
And I'm always the worst example, though, is what I
yeah,
try to tell people. Uh, don't always follow my lead, and I try to point people in the right direction of the best of the best, I guess,
mm.
out there.
Well, that's a good point, and I think, for folks that aren't doing YouTube, they may not think of that side of it. Like you said, spending so much, on the things that you talk about, the things that you review,
Yeah,
and the commitment to do that. It takes a lot of commitment to do that and sacrifice of sorts. And I for me doing these conversations, I think that's one of the big pillars that I like to try to at least touch a little bit on is the sacrifice that you guys make as content creators, because I think that that's a story that not many people hear much about, and,
yep.
and the different angles to it. So I'm glad you were able to say that, because I always said to myself, I know he's got to spend a lot of money on his physical
Yeah,
media.
and you'll always get the people that comment, "Why are you wasting your money on this stuff? Why are you doing
Uh-huh.
that? Why did you buy that? Why did you buy this?" And I'm like, "That's the nature of what I do here. Like, I'm gonna get as
Right.
much of as I possibly can to enlighten myself on all of these different boutique labels and studios
Yes.
and releases, and I wanna learn as much as I possibly can. I wanna know as much as I possibly can. I wanna be in the know about
Right.
everything that's coming out so I can better inform others."
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. That
so
makes a lot of sense, man.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's up, Gina? Good to see you. And we got Miss Carter in the chat. Good to see you guys. Jim from Now It's Dark. Good to see you too, Jim. Welcome, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Adrian's in the chat. Good to see you. All right, saying hey there, everyone. Hey, Kenny Lewis. Let's see.
Kenny
Joseph's in
Levels.
the
What's
chat
up,
too.
Adrian?
And we got John. Okay, I said hi to John earlier. Yes. Okay, and Denisha as well. All right. Oh, well, here's a good question. Actually, this is a question I had, but Miss Carter's throwing it out first. How do you feel about buying multiple copies of the same movie? She's saying, I'm not a fan personally, but I have made a few exceptions.
Yeah, I don't do it a ton personally, especially when it comes to like the big studio releases, new movies that are coming out. I usually try to pick one that I'm the most interested in, get it.
Hmm.
But there are circumstances where I'll definitely do what they call double dipping,
Yeah.
on a specific release. Um, the best example I probably have, I don't think I have both of them over here, but House of a Thousand Corpses got a Blu-ray release back in April.
Hmm.
They got a nice steelbook release, and it got this like big box set release. And
Hmm.
I'm a Lionsgate steelbook collector. I like collecting all those steelbooks because they have cool slipcovers and stuff. And
They
I
do.
knew I had to get that steelbook, but that box set edition was also super cool as well.
Hmm.
So I think it's tough we're movie fans first and foremost, but we're also collectors. And when you get in that collector space and that collector mindset, you will start making decisions on your purchases that go beyond just the film itself that you're buying.
Yeah.
As you start getting in that kind of collector space. So I bought both of those editions. And I think
Nice.
Flashdance also came out the same month on 4K. And I like the slipcover release. And I like the steelbook. And it's like, I just got to get both of them. And that happens sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what I don't like is when a studio will release a Blu-ray and then 6 months later they'll upgrade it to 4K and then make you have
Yes.
to upgrade it. I'm not a huge fan of that. But people collect and do stuff for different reasons. Some people like
It's true.
buying every single edition of every movie that comes out. We got Basement Blues in the chat right here. That's kind of his gimmick. He buys everything. If it comes out, he doesn't want to miss out on any of those collectible releases.
Yeah.
And if you think of it as, again, going beyond the movie, you're adding value to your collection. It's kind of an investment. Maybe someday that might be worth something.
That's true too.
You collect movies and packages the same way somebody would collect Funko Pops or baseball cards or something like that. It's all pretty much the same thing. But I think it's hard for people that aren't in the movie collecting space, physical media space, to truly understand that. They're just like, why do you want 2 copies of the same movie? There's nothing different about them. What's the deal? But
right. Good point.
There's a lot that goes into it, and everybody collects differently.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. Some people are a lot more casual, and some people, they might have just certain movies that they really put on that pedestal. So yeah,
Yep.
that's very true. Good question, Miss C. Thank you so much.
No, very good question.
Yeah. Joseph says, I'm a big horror movie fan. What's your favorite Insidious movie?
The first one. Now I haven't seen the new one. I don't think that'll pass the first one for me, but
yeah.
But of the first 4, I'd say the first one. And I just watched it recently. I rewatched it, I think, for the first time in like 5 years. And I forgot how great that movie is.
It is.
I was like, this movie kind of ages better to me than The Conjuring. And I never thought I would have said that like 5 years ago, because I hold The Conjuring like up on a very high pedestal.
Yeah,
but I
me too.
rewatched it. And I need to rewatch The Conjuring too, I guess, before I could say that. But I don't know. Insidious just hit me differently. It comes at you from the family angle and perspective. The dad and the mom, that son, there's something wrong with him and they can't figure it out. Kind of reminds you a lot of The Exorcist, and that's my favorite horror movie of all time.
Yep.
And I think as a parent, you watch these movies from a different perspective sometimes as well, and it's a little bit more impactful on you. So,
good point.
I love that first Insidious movie. I think it's scary, and I think it tells a really good story, and all the performances are great, and it's probably my favorite James Wan movie as of right now.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it is really good. I think, when I first saw it, I was just so impressed with it. I mean, I love James Wan as a director anyways. I think he's just so talented. And I love the fact that he's a big movie fan. You can tell that he's really done a lot of study and he's been a fan for a long time. But you're right, Insidious is a great movie, and I really love it.
I mean, what other horror director? I mean, maybe Wes Craven, you could say, but like he's created 3 extremely profitable franchises.
That's right. Yeah.
Saw, which is coming up on its 10th movie. The Conjuring universe, I think, has like 10 movies now, or is getting ready to, with The Nun 2.
That's right.
And Insidious just got its 5th movie.
Yeah, and it's made a lot of money too in the theater.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
But I also have not seen the second one, the third one, and the fourth one in probably 4 or 5 years either. But I remember them kind of being a little forgettable.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Good point.
I want to rewatch the third one, because I know that was directed by Lee Winnell, and I love the Upgrade and The Invisible Man. So I want to go back and see if I can see those Lee Winnell-isms in that movie, because I don't remember it.
Yeah, man.
Well.
The Invisible Man, that was such a good movie, man. I was so impressed with that. I mean,
yeah,
like,
right
it blew me
before
away.
the pandemic.
Yep.
It was like
that was the last movie I saw before the
theaters.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. That's so funny. It's true.
I may have saw
Uh,
Sonic. I can't remember when they came out. I might have saw Sonic before the pandemic hit. I can't
I
remember.
can't remember if it was or not, but yeah, Invisible Man. I'm telling you. Uh, Basement Blue saying sometimes the packaging merits buying different editions of the same film. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
Very, very true. Let's see. I thought I saw another question in here. Oh, wait a minute. David was saying, I was trying to upgrade some of my Blu-rays to 4K, but haven't been impressed with every 4K release. I'm also not one that really invests in a movie for bonus content and commentary.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been a huge special features guy and commentary guy. I don't think I've listened to a commentary all the way through, if I'm being honest.
Mm,
The closest I got was Escape from New York. I started listening to the Kurt Russell and John Carpenter commentary, and I was like, these guys are just awesome together.
they
So
are.
I got through like half the movie of that. Um, I don't know. I'll get done watching them. It's like I want to watch the movie, and then when I get done
Yeah.
watching the movie, I don't want to watch it again with the
Yep.
commentary. So I missed out on a lot of the commentaries, but I have gotten more into special features, especially now that I review stuff and
Hmm.
I got to dig into every aspect of the release. So, and
Right.
sometimes those
Right.
special features will enhance the movie and make you like it better
Yep.
because you learn like the behind the scenes stuff and what went into it. Even if it's not the best movie,
Yeah.
you'll come away with a greater appreciation of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few commentaries that I thought were just fantastic, and for me, they were movies I enjoyed anyways. Whether The Thing has really good commentary on it.
Yeah, I would love to listen to some more. I need to just
Mm,
do it. I need to just
yeah. Yeah.
probably maybe when I'm doing something else, I can throw a movie on and have the
That's
commentary
right.
playing in the background or something. I don't necessarily have to
I've done
watch the
that.
movie, I guess, but
Yep. I've done that before. No doubt. No doubt at all. Carrie saying, I would never judge someone if they collect the same movie due to the artwork on the covers. If you enjoy it and adore it, then collect it. You do you, boo. Yep.
yeah, that's very important to remember because there are a lot of judgmental people out there when it
Hmm.
comes to buying. It's like you're spending their money or something. It's like
That's
I'm
true,
not
man.
coming into your wallet to get your money to
Right.
buy this stuff. Why do you care so much?
I know.
But
Well,
people, yeah, yeah, they've definitely come at me before over that and how much I spend
yeah.
my money on and
Hmm.
talking about my kids' college funds and stuff. And I'm like, why do you?
Oh my
First off, my
gosh.
kids' college funds and my kids and my family is provided for. Everything is fine in this house financially. What I
Right.
do with my disposable income is my business, not yours. But yeah,
Right. Right.
people will
Right.
go nuts over that stuff.
That's
And
crazy, man, because I didn't really know to that. It's funny because that is actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is, what kind of negativity, if much, because I think everyone sees some, but obviously, the longer you're a creator, the more success you have, you're gonna have more people coming at you. But that was
mm,
one thing I was gonna ask is, how is the negativity and how do you process it? And I was gonna say, what's some of the crazy stuff you've gotten? And that's just crazy when they're talking about your kids'
yeah.
college fund. Like
I
if they really care.
I kinda do it to myself because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I do a video every month, and it's my monthly audits with my wife, and we go over
Yes.
everything so I'm very transparent with what I
Yes.
spend. Everybody knows what I spend on movies every month, every single
Yep.
month, because I do that on a video for everybody to see.
Yep.
Uh, Not a lot of people do that, so they don't put themselves in
True.
that position.
Yeah.
Um but, I don't care. Like I said, I'm an open book. It's
Mhm.
whatever, and it's a fun video, and people enjoy it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of those videos people will be like, "Oh, that's an act. She's not really that mad." It does get a little heated sometimes. It is
Mhm.
very real, um, and it does make me more conscious of what I'm spending. There are months I let myself get out of control,
Mhm.
and this month that last month was one of those, and this month I really tried to rein it in because I know that the audit's coming, so I'm always conscious of it. So I
Mhm.
feel like it does
Mhm.
help me a little bit, kinda rein in my spending.
Yeah,
Uh,
man, absolutely. It keeps you engaged with it.
but yeah,
And as content, it's engaging with the people that, are watching it because they get to see that side of you. I think that's a cool thing too, for content creators that are able to kind of give little bit more of themselves to their viewers, I think that's a really, really cool thing, because
Yeah.
people, like you said, can turn it against you and come after you for really stupid shit. But the positive of it is that people really get a sense of who you are, and they really feel
Yeah.
like they know you at least as a viewer. So that's cool, man. To me, I
And
think it's worth it, and I'm sure you do too, or you wouldn't keep doing
the
it. So
yeah, and here's the thing with the negative comments. It's very easy to let that stuff get to you, especially like in the very beginning where you may get 2 or 3
hmm
comments and 2 out of 3 of them are negative, and that can kinda beat you down.
hmm
Um, but when
yeah,
you grow and you're getting more engagement and stuff, the vast majority of my comments are very positive, very encouraging, and, nice to read and
hmm
interact with, and it's a very small minority that's shitty in the comment
right.
section. So, it's easier to block that kinda stuff out, when you get to that point,
hmm
but like I said, I think that's why when you're first trying to get into this stuff, a lot of people will just say, "The hell with this, I ain't doing it," and they get very discouraged very easily because
hmm
it's hard in the beginning,
yeah.
and you put up a video and you spend 5 or 6 hours on it, and you get 2 comments and,
hmm
one of them's telling you that you messed something up in the video, and the other one's telling you to go kill yourself, and it's
I
like
know.
it's like, "Damn."
It
It's
can
like,
be
"Why do I
rough.
even do this?" So I
hmm
definitely had a lot of that in the beginning, but it's
Yeah.
easier now when, the majority is positive, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you have to go through a grind. I in my own lives and live streams and so forth, I've talked about that. You really have to grind it out for a while. Some people maybe not, but most of us, we have to just kind of keep at it and keep creating content and taking the good and the bad. And like you said, the frustrations. I mean, yeah, there's times when you can spend so much time just editing, just like a 15-minute video. You can
Yep.
spend hours and hours and hours and hours. And like you said, you put it up and you're thinking to yourself, obviously you're thinking to yourself, this is good, or I enjoy
Mhm.
it. And you're hoping that it'll reach other people. And sometimes it just doesn't hit,
Yeah.
and I mean that unfortunately it can be something that you see quite a bit, especially in the beginning. But even to this day, I still every once in a while I'll say, wow, well, that didn't work out. So you just got to
Yeah.
go back to the
It
drawing board.
it, uh, it definitely happens, and it
Yeah.
and it
Oh yeah.
makes you be like, "Well, I'm not doing that ever again.
That's right. You're
Done with
right.
that."
It's true, man. It's like, man, I'm not gonna spend time doing that. Nobody wants to
Now
see
there's
that.
there's the side of it that some people just wanna do this because they think it's fun and
That's
it
right.
doesn't matter, the
hmm
views and all that stuff. It's just kind of an outlet, and it definitely is that way for me too. Like, I wouldn't talk about physical media and this stuff if I didn't love it. Like, I genuinely get
Exactly.
excited to talk about this stuff, like, every Monday when I'm getting all the news and stuff together, like, that's
hmm
really me. Like, I'm really excited about all this stuff, and I like to kinda showcase that, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if you just wanna put, your creativity into it and just let it float out there, but if you
That's right.
do want to make something of it and you wanna grow, then you have to take that kinda stuff to heart a little bit and learn
Yeah.
from it for sure.
True enough. Yeah, I was just talking to my friend Karen from Ocean Chick Films, and um, I said the same thing. I said, there's different reasons to do this, and one of which is like you said, you're just kind of doing it, for fun and to, you know, make some friends and be a part of a community, and that's it. And then the other side of it is, if you're trying to grow your channel, or your brand or what have you, and it's two different paths, because there's certain things that you would do differently if
Yeah,
you're trying to grow your channel versus, hey, I'm just gonna come on a live stream, and if people want to hang out with me, that's great. And if they don't, that's fine. So yeah.
yeah,
Um, Carrie, thank you so much. Carrie's gifted a membership in the live chat, and you're all right, Carrie. Seriously, thank you so much for all the support. It looks like it went to Troy. Troy, welcome to the channel membership. That's awesome, Carrie. You're all right. Seriously, I appreciate you so much. And
nice,
you're also helping out all the time. Very, very cool. Very, very cool.
awesome.
Yeah, man. We got Original Fuzz too in the chat saying, "Hey, what's up, Knight and Ken? Been looking forward to this. Love both your channels. I'll have to catch most of this on replay later, but wanted to chime in and say you guys rock." Thanks,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah, Fuzz has got a really awesome channel himself. I don't know how
Yeah.
long he's been doing it, but I just discovered him a couple of months ago, and he does some really good videos over there.
Yeah, man. It's so many people in this community that do really good work, or they have something special that they bring to the table. And I would have never thought it was going to be like that when I first started doing YouTube. I didn't know that I would, find a community, be a part of it, and it would be so important to me. So many cool people that I've met. Um, and it's really humbling, because there's a lot of great people out there that you share common passions with. Speaking of which, like with you, what was your beginnings like as far as what made you get into it? Was there any particular thing that happened or pushed you in the direction of starting your own channel?
Well, I think the big thing, I mean, of course, I've always loved movies, and I
Mm,
I was never into collecting physical media like I am now. I was the go to Walmart or Target and buy whatever DVD I wanted on the shelf kind of guy. I wasn't ordering stuff off a line and looking into different boutique releases and stuff, which a lot of that didn't
mhm,
even exist back then. But the big thing was I just got more time because I left a job that used to work me about 80, 90 hours a week. And I left
mm,
there and I went to another place where my schedule was a little bit more reasonable, 40 hours a
mhm,
week. So to go from a job that's 80 or 90 hours a week to 40 hours a week, you're like, what the hell do I do with all this extra time that I got? Um, so I've always had like a critical mind. And when I first got into this, I just wanted to like review new movies and stuff coming out and just do
mm,
movie reviews and things like that. Every time I watched a new movie, I had this notebook that I would write down my thoughts in. And
mm.
then I would give like a score at the bottom. And I'd be like, why don't I? Because I was just getting into like, I've never been a huge social media guy. Like
Yeah.
I was on Facebook, but I did like maybe a couple posts like a year or something. But
Mm,
I discovered Instagram and I started posting pictures and stuff, my kids and family, just stuff like that. And then one Black Friday, I went and got like 6 Blu-rays at Walmart, and I came home and I snapped a picture of it and I posted it, and I found it
mhm.
got more likes than everything else. And I'm like, huh. And then I got to thinking, and I never started my page to be like a physical media page either, but it got
Mhm,
me thinking about a movie page, maybe a page where I could start and give my thoughts on movies that I watch instead of writing them down in a notebook. I can put them online and on Instagram. So I started
mhm,
doing movie reviews on Instagram. I had an Instagram page called Mid Level Movie Reviews,
mhm,
and the whole gimmick of Mid Level is just a regular guy who loves movies, reviewing movies, and nothing special about me. And I still believe that to this day. There's nothing special about me. I'm just a regular dude that gets on here and shares my thoughts about stuff.
yep,
Um, but then once you get into the movie community and specifically the physical media community, you start to see all these like really cool editions and steel books, and you're like, what is all this stuff? Like, what have I fallen into here? And everybody's showing off all these like cool horror titles and stuff with cool artwork.
mhm,
And I just didn't know about any of that stuff before. And
right,
this was like 2017. So I started going to Walmart and finding more stuff like that, Scream Factory titles. I found Silent Night, Deadly Night there, and I was like, "Oh, this is a movie I remember when I was a kid watching and loving."
yep,
So I picked that up, and I was looking on Amazon for House because I used to love
mm,
watching the House movies when I was a kid. And I
yep,
was like, "I wonder if these have a good Blu-ray release." And of course, Arrow Video did all 4 of them, so I picked up the first one, and that introduced me to Arrow Video. And then I started hearing about this Criterion sale at Barnes and
mhm,
Noble. So I went to Barnes and Noble and I discovered Criterion and I picked up Rosemary's Baby.
ooh,
So that was all my origin with like these specialty boutique labels.
mm,
Um, and like I said, I was just doing movie reviews at that time. If I went and saw a new movie, I remember reviewing like Wonder Woman and It Chapter One was like those were like some of my first reviews that I did. And at the same time, I was also showing off like my new physical media releases. So I had
mhm,
that going for a couple of years. And then I discovered like people were talking about this stuff on YouTube too, which I didn't know about. People are doing unboxings of steelbooks from Best Buy. And I was like, Best
mhm,
Buy has movies and steelbooks? I didn't even know that. So I discovered all the
Wow.
exclusives at Best Buy, and I'm into the Marvel movies because I liked, in the Marvel heyday with Infinity War and Endgame, like that's everybody loved that. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, Infinity War came out on 4K. I got to pick up the Target exclusive. I got to pick up the Steel book, and I was that guy that was trying to get multiple editions and stuff.
Nice.
So it just
Wow.
further and further down the rabbit hole, and you're seeing everybody show this stuff off, and you're learning more about it. Um, and then I started my second page, I think, in 2019, and I was trying to like divide the two. Like I was like, all right, I'm going to review movies on this page, and I'm going to show off physical media releases and talk about upcoming releases on this one.
Mhm.
So that's where mid-level media started. And
Mhm.
I still have both pages. In my other page, I got up to like I think 12 or 13,000 followers or something. I don't even do anything over there anymore, barely. I try to post every now and then, but I'm mostly just on this page. And
Mhm.
then, what was I saying? Well, when I started to see everybody showing this stuff off, it made me want to do unboxings and things like that. And then I discovered a fun thing called Blu-ray hunting.
Mhm.
And I was like, I go to Walmart, Target every week anyway to pick up all this stuff. What would happen if maybe I started to film and, do some
Mhm.
fun little things in store and put that up on YouTube. So those were my first videos, like doing Blu-ray hunts and unboxings and things like that. And it just kind of snowballed from there. I also did movie
Wow.
reviews. I remember seeing Doctor Sleep, and I did a review of that on the channel. I think when you start YouTube, you're just kind of throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks and seeing what
Yeah.
works for you. And it's like I'm Blu-ray hunting, I'm doing movie reviews, and I think I did videos talking about the box office, and you're just all over the place, and you're not focused. You're just trying all kinds of different stuff. You just want to talk about the stuff that you love.
Mhm.
Um, and then the pandemic happens, and I couldn't see any new movies anymore, but there was still physical media coming out. And this
Yep.
was, 2020, and that's when I started the physical media report, where I kind of just break down all the releases that were coming out. I'd seen a couple people doing that at the
Mhm.
time, so it wasn't like a super original idea or nothing. But
Mhm.
the way I wanted to do it was kind of like a news show.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
even have when I started, I had the little camera pans, and I've been doing that pretty much since the beginning. Um, and I wanted to talk about the news, like what's been announced, what's coming out this week, deals. I think back then I talked about like top 5 Blu-rays and top 5 4Ks of the week. And I used to use that video to show off like my pickups and stuff as well. Just kind of like an all-in-one news show, just breaking everything down.
Mhm.
And that was the idea in the video that really started to take off for me.
Yeah.
And the Blu-ray hunts, once I could get back in stores and the pandemic kind of settled down a little bit, those would do really well for me as well.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of just shifted my focus into primarily physical media.
Mm.
Um, and I started doing reviews and hauls and stuff like that.
Nice, man. Well,
So that
hey.
was a long answer, but that's kind of the origin
Well,
of everything.
no, man. I mean, I think, and for everyone that I've asked that question, and most of you guys have been doing it for a long time. So that makes sense because there is a long story
Yeah.
there. Because, like you said, you go through so many things as a YouTuber. As you get into it and as you just start, and then, like you said, you kind of find out what works for you or what you
Yeah.
want to do. So, absolutely, man. It's
But
interesting stuff. I
even
love
back
hearing it.
when I first started my Instagram, I always had it in my head. I want to go on YouTube one day, but
Mm,
I was just kind of scared to to put my face on there. It's one thing to type and post something, but to like actually put your face on
that's right.
camera. And I
Mhm.
still don't think I'm very good at talking. I don't feel like I'm a great conversationalist, and it's putting yourself out there and having to give your thoughts verbally. I've always been good at written stuff and writing reviews and things like that, but to do
Mhm.
it like verbally and not just read off a sheet or something that you pre-wrote or a script,
Right.
it's different.
Yeah.
Um, and I still do it differently now. Like sometimes I'll write out my reviews to give me
Mhm.
myself a guideline, and sometimes I'll just turn the camera on and be like, I feel like I'm worse sometimes when I write a script, and I'm like, I'm just going to say whatever about this release. It's all just going to come from whatever's in my brain at this particular moment.
Right.
And but usually
Sometimes it's
I'll
better that
miss
way.
something. I won't talk about something that somebody wants me to talk about. Like, why didn't
Mhm.
you address this? And I'm like, crap, I should have talked about that. I wish I would have wrote notes. So I try to do it both ways. I try to write notes, but also kind of speak off the cuff as well. I feel like I'm just better off the cuff, though, to be honest.
Some people are, and I've found that from a lot of people I've talked to and other content creators, some people are better at doing something like this live streaming where it's just boom, there's no set,
Yeah.
speech, or anything that you're reading. But then others are much better at pre-recorded stuff where they could, take the time to write out their script and edit it and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Everyone's got their thing. So
Yeah.
no
I've
doubt.
always loved the live stream format ever since kind of discovered it's. I'm like, oh, you can go live. And it's definitely scary, though. Like
Yeah.
this right now will make me nervous and scared of what might come out of my mouth next.
It's like, I
But
don't
it's
know what I'm gonna
cool.
say next.
But it's cool because at the end of the day, it's like you can't do it. If I screw up and say something wrong, I can't do anything about it. There's no safety net. It's just like we
Right.
just let it roll.
Just go
So,
for it. Yeah.
and you can just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's live. I can't edit it. Sorry." You know,
I love it, man.
What are you gonna do?
There's
Said
nothing
it.
you
Sorry.
can do. That's right. What's up, Ben? Ben's in the chat, and good to see you, man. He's saying he's a big fan of the audit videos. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
those are big crowd pleasers every month.
Yeah. Ty says I'm a fan of the monthly release videos. Very, very cool. Adrian saying I've been a subscriber to Ken's channel for nearly 2 years now. Awesome. Very
Thank you,
cool.
Adrian.
Yeah. My man, Mr. Dan's in the chat. What's going on, Dan? Good to see you. Very, very cool. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And Carrie is she's just making a mark in this chat tonight, coming in with another super chat. Carrie, thank you so much. Seriously, you know what that means to us. Thank you. Saying I needed to pick me up today, and giving is an ultimate way for me to do so. Also, I love you. Also, Ken, I love you too, great Carrie. Saying also, Ken, I'm curious, what was your first horror movie? Ooh,
The first one I can remember off the top of my head is Stephen King's It from 1990. I was 5 years old when I saw that. I remember it was on TV, and I think we were over at my aunt's or grandma's, and they put me in the back room, but I could still like peek out through the door and see it. And I remember seeing the scene in the shower where he comes out of the shower drain and
yeah,
with Eddie. And I watched it a couple of years later, but I'll always point to that one as like my first memory of watching a horror movie. That
nice,
or
nice.
Psycho. Like it's both of those I remember watching very young.
Very cool.
But I've been watching horror. Um, I don't really know why, but my parents never seemed to care like what I watched when I was a kid. So we would leave the church. Like I was raised Catholic, so we would leave like Saturday night mass, and my mom would take me to the video store, and she'd let me pick out 3 tapes, and I would always go to the horror section, and I would get whatever I wanted. You know, you know, they just never
Nice.
seemed to care what I watched. So I've been watching horror since I was probably like 8 or 9 or 10, somewhere around there.
Ooh, Wi-Fi just kicked in. You
I was
there?
gonna be like, where's he at? But I could see you moving though.
I was like,
You,
you
you
gotta
weren't you
love
weren't
tech.
you weren't completely frozen. You were like kind of moving
Oh, I
around and
wasn't.
smiling. I was like, is he
It
just
was
giving me a
weird.
delayed response?
No, it was weird because I could hear you, and then it chopped up a little bit, and then the screen went, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, speaking of it, Carrie, she asked us earlier. I didn't get to it yet, but she was asking, which Pennywise do you prefer, Skarsgård or Carrie?
Uh, Curry. Yeah,
Mm,
that's that first It movie is just one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
yeah, it's a good
Um,
one.
and but I do like Skarsgård. I like those new It movies. I like both of them.
Mm.
I did not like the second one when I saw it in the theaters at all, but when I rewatched it, I liked it a lot more.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I actually think I prefer the chapter 2 the chapter 1 if I'm being honest. I don't feel like a
Oh,
lot of people would say that.
really?
I like the adult stuff. I always liked it in the miniseries too.
Yeah.
Um, but everybody always points to that being the weakest part of the movies. But for some
Mhm.
reason, not to say I don't love the kid stuff, but yeah, that the old it was just it's just a very important movie to me. I watched it like over and over again.
Cool,
Um,
man. It's a good one. It's a classic, and Tim Curry was just amazing in it. You know, he
yeah,
really, really was. Scared the crap out of me as a kid, that's for sure.
yeah. But I do think that Skarsgård was better as Pennywise in the second one than he was in
Mm,
the first one. He didn't scare me in the first one. He just kind
yeah.
of shook around and
Right.
but
Right,
in the
right.
second one, like you get these like long drawn out moments of like him under the bleachers with that little girl. I always
I
thought was
love
super
that scene.
scary. He's like
Yeah.
drooling. You can just see like it in his eyes, and I thought he did a great job in that one.
Yeah. No, he's definitely good in the role, no doubt. And it's tough to, fill the shoes of Tim Curry. So,
Yeah, and they're two
um
different interpretations, very different.
that's what I think too. It's kind of like they kind of went from different angles, and I think that was, for Skarsgård, I think that it was smart for him to try to make it his own. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you don't want to just imitate Tim Curry. So he made a good choice, no
for
doubt.
sure.
Carrie, thank you for the awesome questions and the super chat. Let me play this one for Carrie. I know you love this one, and hopefully you get a laugh out of this. Here we go.
Running in place! Not walking and running and jumping in place. Not walking and jumping and running in place. Not walking and jumping and running in place.
There you go.
I don't even know where that one's from.
That's an old school movie, George Hamilton called Zorro the Gay Blade. It was a big
Oh, okay. I've heard of
parody
it.
on Zorro. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. If you like movies like that or Airplane or whatever, it was really, really funny. At least to me.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have
Yeah.
to check it out.
Yeah. What's up, Ginger Ninja? Ginger Ninja's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, man. We got some more people that jumped in too. Um, he says, "Who else blames Stephen King for their horror addiction?" Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I was
Good point.
obsessed with Stephen King. I used to read, you know, his books and stuff when I was a kid, and
Yeah.
it's funny because I remember reading like his books are not short novels by any means, but I was reading his stuff at like 10 or 11, and just because I loved the movies so much, and
Hmm.
I was also reading Goosebump books like right alongside with it, and those are like paper thin.
Yeah, I know. That was like just to take a break.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man. Yeah, Stephen King definitely. Growing up at that time, just even the name, as a young kid, the name would kind of give
yeah.
me a little bit of a chill. Um, just because of the different things that his mind created, and I think all of us as horror fans, and especially people that know his work really well, we're lucky to be a part of it. It really is something
Oh yeah,
amazing. It really is.
incredible. He came out of the gate swinging. Carrie
Right.
was his first novel,
Yeah.
first adaptation.
Yeah,
Director
man.
Brian De Palma.
A fantastic film too. And
Yeah,
and Stephen King actually enjoys the ending of the movie more so than his book. I
yeah,
mean, so it is a really great movie. I mean, it's Brian De Palma, so what else can you say?
yeah. I
Um,
love that movie.
yeah.
Scream Factory did the 4K last year, and I rewatched it for the first time in a few years, and I was like, damn, I don't remember this movie being this good. That's a great movie.
Mm, yeah,
Great
it
movie.
is.
But speaking, I think somebody mentioned The Shining in the chat. I
Mm,
actually when I read The Shining, I have the book that has the TV cover on it. So it
mhm,
has
mm.
the guy from Wings, I think, was Jack Torrance in that movie.
Yep.
I don't remember his name. But that was The Shining I watched when I was a kid. I didn't see Kubrick's one until way later on.
Mm.
So that was kind of the Shining movie I grew up with, was the miniseries on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick saying it was his first. Which version do you like better?
Oh, Kubrick. Yeah, without question. For sure. Yeah.
Nice.
But
I haven't seen the miniseries in a while.
Yeah, I mean that The Shining, Kubrick Shining is definitely in my top 3. It's probably my second favorite horror movie.
Wow, nice.
I'd have The Exorcist, Shining, and The Thing are all in my top 3.
Classics, absolute
Yeah.
classics. Very cool. Um, and Jonathan, what's going on? Jonathan, good to see you. He's in the chat. All right. And actually, Ty, this was something that I was going to mention too. He says, "What's crazy is the sequel to The Shining may be better than the first movie." I love
It's
Doctor Sleep.
it's very good. I loved it.
Hmm.
I think it's blasphemous to say it's better than the original movie, but it's a very good movie. Very
Yeah,
good movie.
yeah. It's very underrated too, man. I mean, like,
When I left the
yeah,
theater, because I was going into it expecting to be pissed off when I left, I was like, "Oh, they ruined it. They ruined The Shining." I should have known better as Mike Flanagan. He hasn't really had a miss in his whole career.
yeah,
Um, but when I left, I was like, that was like the best possible scenario. Like
yes.
it told its own story.
Hmm.
And yeah, it kind of did the member berry stuff at the end, but I felt
Hmm.
it served the story and I felt like the payoff was earned.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Agreed.
and Rose the
Well,
Hat was incredible villain.
oh man, such an underrated villain. Rebecca Ferguson was amazing in that role. But like you said, Mike Flanagan, he had a really difficult task because he had to appease the fans of the book. He had to appease the fans of the Shining book,
Yeah.
and he also had to appease the fans of Kubrick's film, and all in one shot. And I think he did a hell of a job. I really,
Yeah,
really
he
do.
did. He
Yeah.
did.
Yep.
Yeah, I still think it's hilarious that Stephen King hates the the Shining.
I know. He's come around on it a little bit in the last several years, though.
Has he?
Yeah.
He
Yeah. I mean,
realizes he's not gonna win that argument. Like,
right.
that's like objectively the best adaptation of your work, and you hate it.
Right. Well, I mean, to a degree, I get where he's coming from as far as, there was a
Yeah.
lot of things that were done in the movie that were just totally like, woo, you know. But I
I'm
think,
sure he's like, "Who's this damn Kubrick guy I think he is? He directed
right.
2001 A Clockwork Orange, he's gonna come in here and mess with my crap."
Right? Yeah. But I mean, from what I recall in recent years, he understands why people enjoy it. He understands why it's so renowned. And I can't remember really much else, but the fact that he even, is saying those things shows that he's kind of loosened his grip on the hate that he used to have on it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's very, very cool. David is a big fan of Flanagan. Flanagan is awesome, man. I enjoy his I don't know if you've seen any of his shows on Netflix,
Mhm.
but
Not
holy
the most
moly, man.
recent one, The Midnight Club, I didn't watch that one.
It was pretty good. It was
Um,
pretty good.
Midnight Mass was incredible though, and,
Wow. Yeah.
I remember my wife and I, we, like, binged, Squid Game and Midnight Mass, like, I feel like in, like, the same week or something. I was
Wow.
like, "These are some of the
Nice.
best, like, Netflix shows we've ever watched." And they were,
Yeah.
like, in the same week.
Yeah. Midnight
Um,
Mass. I think we got through it in like 2 or 3 days. I can't remember, but it was quick because you're just so gripped with the story. And what a way to do. And I don't want to spoil anything because I think if you haven't seen Midnight Mass on Netflix, you got to check it out.
yeah,
But
I
what
know
a
what
way
you
to
mean.
do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a different way to do something that we've seen so many times before, and it felt
'Cause I had no
fresh.
idea that's what it was until we
Me
started getting
neither.
into it, and I'm like,
I,
"Is this
yeah,
what I think it is?"
right.
I was like, "That's
I was
really
like,
awesome."
I'll never forget. I was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this is so awesome."
Mhm.
Um, so he's a very talented director. Oculus was great as well. I
Oculus
love
is
that.
good. I think he's
Yeah.
had one miss, and I don't know, like, what went into this or if it was his fault, but that there's a
Hmm.
Netflix movie called Before I Wake. Have you seen that?
No.
I thought that was nobody seems to know about that movie. It's almost like it's just been erased from history, but I'm pretty sure, like almost 100% positive he directed that, and it came on
Okay.
Netflix in like 2016 or 2017. And
Wow.
it wasn't
Okay.
like horrible, but it was just so
Mhm.
painfully like boring and bland and
Mm.
just there was just nothing to it. I feel like Naomi Watts was in the movie too.
Oh man. Well, then that's great. Oh, let me write that down. or looked it
Yeah.
up real quick. I love
I'm
Naomi
almost
Watts,
positive he directed it. I know he was involved for sure, but I think he directed it. But that's
and
the only miss I can think of.
it's called Before I Wake.
It's called Before I Wake. I'm gonna look it
Okay.
up.
Yeah. Yep. It's Mike Flanagan, Thomas Jane, Kate Bosworth.
Kate Bosworth, not Naomi Watts.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 2016.
It should still
Yeah.
be on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it was a Netflix original. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It was on
Was-
Netflix. I watched it, but it says it's
Yeah.
streaming on Netflix.
And now I got to check it out just out of curiosity. But
I mean,
you
it's
know,
got a 68 meta score. So, but I just thought it was
yeah,
very, very boring.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think because I like to because he is one of my favorite directors of today.
Very
And I'm one of
underrated.
those severely, man, severely.
I don't
And
feel
I'm
like
that type
anybody
of
like
person that loves
knows
to
him
watch
like
his stuff.
name or talks about him like they do like Ari Aster or Robert Eggers or Jordan Peele, and I'm like he's
Yeah.
doing like everything that they're doing, and like
Yeah.
nobody's talking about him. It's the strangest thing.
Right. Well, and plus the fact that he can do something on Netflix in a series over multiple hours worth,
Yeah,
plus
he
being able to
directed
do
every
video
episode
stuff.
of um, Hill House, right? Haunting of Hill
hmm
House, and then Midnight
hmm
Mass. I think somebody else did Bly Mariner, but I mean he was involved in it.
Right. Hill House was great. That was
Yeah, I would love to take the time to go back and rewatch that because it's been since it
mm,
came out that I've seen it. But
mhm.
that was an amazing show
It was,
for
no
sure.
doubt. Very, very cool. Ty saying director's cut is what I prefer. I like the extra footage and the chapter cards and how Flanagan incorporated a lot of the visual styles of Kubrick. Yeah, I love the director's cut of Doctor Sleep as well, no doubt.
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen the director's cut. Something funny happened with the 4K release of it. I think that maybe it only had the director's cut on 4K or something. They wouldn't let you watch the theatrical cut on 4K. It was something like that. Something weird
Oh, that
was
is
going on
weird.
with it.
Wow. Okay.
Got it within reaching distance. Let me see. Clues director's cut. Okay, the director's cut was on Blu-ray. You couldn't watch the
Okay.
director's cut on 4K. Well, that makes more sense. You could only
Yep.
watch theatrical on 4K.
Nice. Hush was awesome, David. I love Hush too. Yep.
Hush,
No
Gerald's
doubt.
Game.
Gerald's
good
Game was
one.
great. Yep. Hey, Jason, what's going on? Good to see you too. All right. David, I agree. Saying I liked Haunting of Bly Manor more than the movie version,
God,
The Turning.
that was a
Yeah,
turd.
it was, man, and I was so disappointed because I really like Mackenzie Davis.
Mhm. It was a good cast. Didn't have
It was a
that
good
Stranger Things
cast.
kid in it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't what it should have been, you know. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it definitely wasn't something I've watched again. So, you know.
Yeah, it is funny. I watched that, and then I think Bly Manor came out like 6 months later or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is kind of the same story, but
That's
done
right.
better.
Yep. Jeez. Hey, Jason from Backtrack Cinema. What's going on, man? I know he's a big Mike Flanagan fan. Yeah. He said Haunting of Hill House is the best horror piece ever. I love Mike Flanagan. It is really good. It truly is.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at those shows as movies, I mean, just longer narratives. I mean, yeah, I mean, I could see somebody saying that it was kind of a masterpiece. I know the ending was. I feel like I remember the ending being a little bit divisive. But it's still good all the way through.
Yeah, I agree, man. I totally agree. David had a question too a little while back saying, as a physical media reviewer, do you feel pressure to buy certain movies for content, or do you limit your purchases to movies that that truly interest you?
Oh, I mean, I definitely feel pressure, but I feel like more so in the past year or so. I try to just limit myself to stuff that I'm truly interested in and excited for. And I do a video at the beginning of every month talking about my 10 most anticipated for the month. And I always tell people those are the ones that I'm likely to review for the month. is the ones that I'm excited for. So I'll have
Yeah.
people hit me up sometimes, be like, "Why didn't you review Avatar on 4K or whatever?" I'm just like, I ended up getting it. But it's like
Mhm.
I don't feel like watching it right now. I wasn't like
Right.
necessarily the most excited to dive into that Avatar
Mhm.
world just yet. Um,
Mhm.
but I'll get to it eventually. But yeah, there's definitely stuff I don't get because I'm not that interested in it.
Right. Well, and the other thing too, and this was another question I wanted to throw out to you. I mean, it takes a lot of time, to run a channel, do the content, plan the content, edit the content, and so forth. What what is your YouTube schedule like? Like, do you have a certain amount of time that you allot for content, and do you schedule it out? And if so, how does that work? Because I know you've got a job, and I
Yeah.
can definitely sympathize because sometimes it's crazy to be able to juggle the two. So what is your schedule like as far as creating content and running the channel?
So the only thing I really have scheduled week to week, and I have to do it every Monday because that's what people expect, is the physical
Hmm.
media report.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can pretty much put whatever I want out on any day that I want.
Hmm.
So I wish I was more organized. I wish I had a calendar and I wish I had a whiteboard and was more structured for sure.
Hmm.
But I'm very much like, I'm always focused on Monday. The physical media report's coming.
Hmm.
Trying to get information ready for that. Once I get past that, I start thinking about what's coming for the rest of the week. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, I kind of have uh, it in mind what I'm going to be talking about or reviewing or showing off or whatever based on
Hmm.
what I've gotten in or based on what's coming out that week. Um, some stuff I'll watch and I'll be like, I don't really have that much to say about that. So I just don't do a
Right.
review for it, even though I was planning on doing it. And then some
Hmm.
stuff will come out of nowhere and I know it's not going to hit as well, but I got so much to say about it. And I think it
Hmm.
needs more attention. Um,
Right.
so I'll do a review for it just to give it the attention that I feel like it deserves.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm flying by the seat of my pants most of the time, I'll be honest. But
I
I
love
do
it.
I do have the one video every Monday, so that definitely it's kind of like my tent pole video that helps keep me structured. I used to do Blu-ray hunts every single week too, so I always have my Monday and Tuesday mapped out. But
Hmm.
here lately, I'm not an every week Blu-ray hunter kind of channel anymore. I just go whenever I can. It gets tough, with the kids and like
Right.
at work and just, sometimes I'm just like, do I need to leave the house and go through all this crap and drive around
Hmm.
and go into these stores when half the time they don't even put the stuff on the shelves on release day anyway? And I'm just left
Mm.
disappointed and bitching in my car about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
so I pre-order a lot more stuff now.
Hmm.
And I just get it sent here. I've just kind of gotten more in the habit of doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice.
But
Nice.
I always try to, in my head, visualize what my week's going to be like at least before I get to it,
Mm. I
structure
hear you.
stuff out. And it
I
gets
hear you,
hard with
man.
work. And I've definitely gotten better in, probably the past year at like shooting stuff, editing stuff like days in advance,
Mhm.
pre-uploading it. Like as of right now, I see, I'm very fortunate. I have a job where I only work 3 days a week.
Mhm.
And my days are long days. I work about 13, 14-hour days. I go in at 5:30 and I leave at like 7:30.
Mm.
Um, but having that consolidation in my work schedule allows me Monday through Thursday to work on content.
Mhm.
Um, so before I go back to work on Friday, which is tomorrow, I've already got everything shot, edited, and pre-uploaded to YouTube to drop
Mm.
over the weekend because I know I'm not coming home and shooting nothing when I work a 13, 14-hour day. I'm coming home and crashing and then doing it
Amen
the
to
next
that.
day again.
Yeah, man.
Um, so that's kind of, how I structure stuff once I get to, by the time Thursday hits, I know what's coming out over the weekend.
Mm.
And I try to stay consistent. I've always had the mindset, especially in this game and especially considering how many channels and that are out there doing the same thing as me.
Mhm.
Obviously, I want to stand out. I want to grow, and I'm like, if I'm going to break into this, especially since I was just starting really in like 2020 just kind of late
Mhm.
in the game. I was like, I gotta just full throttle into it, video every single day.
Mhm.
Be consistent, stay in the consciousness of everybody.
Yep.
Um, so that's what I try to do. It's very rare that I miss a day of an upload. I'm
Mm.
usually every single day, which
That's a
is
good point.
difficult for sure. But
Mhm.
as long as you keep yourself semi organized and you try to pre-upload stuff and get things
Right.
ready, and it'll take a little bit of the pressure off.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, man, I mean, you like I said, you're like a pillar, for any channel that I've been around since I've started, you've just always just like, bam, bam, bam. Oh, there goes Ken. He's telling me what's going on. Da, 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 and it's like,
And I
you
know
know,
it could get annoying to some people, and I'm sure I've lost subscribers and stuff. Oh, this guy's just too much. I can't do it. But
well,
I'd like to think for every, subscriber I lose, I maybe gain 5 or 10 or something.
right. Well, I
Um,
mean, it's the grind, and you're reliable, and I
yeah.
think that that's a huge thing, and that's why your channel's been so successful. And I think that's an important thing to pass on, to other aspiring content creators. Also, those of us that are still in the game doing it, but also for the audience, because they don't get to see that. They don't get to see the hustle that you do on your days off from work to get prepared,
Yeah.
because then you have to go to work. It's like most people, they like to enjoy their time off of work, but for a lot of us content creators, our days off from work is still work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And I mean, I enjoy it. So, I mean, that
right.
helps, but it is
Yeah.
still work. And there are some
Yeah.
weeks where I was like, God, I just wish I could just take this week off and just not do
Yeah.
anything and just come back fresh the next week. I would probably feel a lot more refreshed and less drained,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
uh, it's hard. You don't, especially in this, you don't want to feel like you're missing out on anything. You don't want to feel like somebody's going to get the jump on you, or talk
Yeah.
about something that you should have been talking about. You don't want to miss out on whatever's, happening.
That's right.
Um, and it's like you could just lose that momentum so fast and so quick.
It's true. It's
So you,
absolutely
you
true.
just you just have to stay in it. So yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I never feel like I'm off. I never feel like I'm truly relaxing. And I got another channel. I got me and my wife do a channel together as
That's
well,
right.
which
That's right.
I taught her how to edit. So she does the editing and stuff now, which takes a little bit off my plate. But we,
Nice.
talk about she doesn't give a crap about Blu-rays and 4Ks and physical media. So we just talk about new movies and stuff like that and do live streams
Yeah.
and
I think it's
that kind of
cool,
stuff.
seeing you guys together, man. It's a different vibe, and it seems like,
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, yeah, it seems like you're just having fun. You can kind of just kick back and just, enjoy it. Not to say you don't enjoy the stuff on your channel, but it just seems
Yeah.
like, you've got your partner there, and it's like you can enjoy something together and have fun with it. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's
Yeah.
great. It took me a while to talk her into doing. I wanted to do a podcast with her for the longest time, and she's the one that brought up the idea. She's like, "Why don't we just do our own YouTube channel and do movie reviews and stuff?" I was like, "Well, all right, let's do it.
Nice.
Why
That's
not?
awesome.
Let's do
Right.
10 or 11 videos a week instead of 7. Let's do it."
There you go. That's awesome stuff,
Uh,
man. Awesome. Let's see. David was asking or saying, as someone who collects physical media, how do you feel about streaming movies? I find myself with a foot in both worlds, buying the movie to have, but watching or streaming mostly. Ooh,
there have been some situations where I'll have a movie and I know I got the movie, but we're flipping through the streaming services and be like, "You want to
mm-hmm.
watch this?" And then we do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there are times like that, and it's impossible to shut off streaming
Right.
100%. I do know some people in the community that I just watch stuff physically. They don't stream. They don't do anything like that. But you're missing out
Mm-hmm.
on a lot of content, a lot of good content if you don't
Yeah.
do streaming as well. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Netflix or originals and Amazon
Mm-hmm.
and Hulu and stuff that my wife and I watch, and
Yeah.
we watch a lot of TV together. I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't really cover a lot of TV and stuff like that on my channel. So
Mm-hmm.
we're usually watching the TV shows, and the new movies and things like that. So I think
Yeah.
that both can coexist. It's not one or the other, you
Mhm.
know. It definitely makes me angry sometimes that stuff will come out on streaming and it'll never see the light of day on physical.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they'll yank it from the streaming service
Yep.
and you
That's
won't have
true.
it anymore. And it's like, where does it go?
Right.
Nowhere. It's
That's
just
right.
lost for potentially forever.
Mhm.
Um, so that upsets me. And you have a movie like Barbarian that came out in the theaters and it made a good amount of money in the theaters, and
Mhm.
they dropped it on HBO Max. And of course, you can buy it streaming or whatever, but you can't own that movie physically unless you want
Mm.
to do a bootleg of it.
Right.
And I don't love the idea of bootlegging somebody's work,
Mhm.
but I think now in the times that we're in, some people got to do what they got to do, to get
Yeah.
some of this stuff. And a lot of those bootlegs will be some pretty good quality on them as
Mhm.
well, and they'll be pretty legit looking.
Yeah.
But always, first and foremost, you want to support the art and the artists and the people that actually made the movie.
Mhm.
So I would never do it if there was an actual like option to buy. Um, but yeah, it's getting a little scary and a little crazy out there for sure.
It
Um,
is. There's no
when
doubt.
it comes to streaming and physical media, I would never want either to go away completely. I
Yeah.
think they can definitely, because they're both creating movie fans, at the end of the day, and that's what you want. People
Mm.
enjoying movies however way they want to.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah. Let
but
them make the choice. True enough, man. And David saying, "I admire your drive, Ken, family, work, and a second channel." Yes.
thank you,
Yep.
David.
Absolutely. Dan was saying, what's a good underrated or underseen giallo?
I do love a good giallo, but I
Mhm.
probably couldn't point you in the direction of one that's probably haven't already seen, given that you're
Mm.
asking this question. I'm very surface level still when it comes to Italian horror. I've seen most of Argento stuff. I've gotten into a few Fulci movies, um,
Mm.
but beyond that, I haven't seen too much. Look, I will say one that I don't feel like gets talked about a lot that I watched last year. I think Arrow Video put it out. Let me see if I can find it. Um, if not, I'll just say it. Dang, where did it go? Oh, there it is. It's called Shock by Mario Bava.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think this one's underrated. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and I thought this was really awesome.
Mm.
And it's got Dario Nicolodi in it. So
Yeah, she's awesome.
I, I I like that one a lot. So I would say that's an underrated one
Yeah,
for
that's a
sure.
good one. Yeah, good call, good call. Um, Ellie's in the chat saying, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Good to see you." David saying TCM 2022 is another one that needs a physical. Yeah, I know. That's crazy. It
Yeah,
doesn't have one.
it's like you own the entire Texas Chainsaw Massacre collection, but you can never own that one because it's a Netflix
Yeah,
original. It sucks.
that really does. Because I mean, and I'm a fan of the franchise. I mean, obviously it has ups and downs. I'm really a big fan of the original, but that is crazy to think that you could have the whole franchise except for 2022, man. I mean,
Yeah,
gosh, that's crazy stuff, man.
yeah, and I mean, there's
True story.
bootlegs of that as well, but it's like you don't want to
Mhm.
own that kind of stuff. It doesn't look great on your shelf. You want to own a legitimate version, but yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it's it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And the thing
Um,
about Netflix is
H
they have released stuff in the past on physical media, and it's like they just pick and choose. And it
yes.
doesn't feel like they do it at all anymore. But they've done Daredevil, I think, on like DVD in the past. Haunting of Hill
Yep.
House was on
Yep.
DVD and Blu-ray, I think, and Blind
Yep.
Manor. And Stranger Things
I
season
wonder.
1 and 2, they did Target exclusive
Yep.
like VHS style cases, but they never did 3 and they
Yep.
haven't done 4. So it's like, what the hell?
I wonder why they do that. It's like, how are they picking and choosing?
I
It's
don't know,
crazy.
man. I think it would be awesome because look, Netflix got started as a physical company, right? They
That's right.
were they were renting out physical discs. I think it would be
Hmm.
awesome if they started their own kind of like boutique label and
That would be
released
cool.
all of their stuff like exclusively on their site. Like there's money to be made there. So
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know why they would want to get into something like that.
Yeah,
Now, of
that's a good point.
course, maybe put like, something comes out, say it can't come out physically for a year and a half or something. It has to be
Mhm.
exclusive to the streaming service. But after
Right.
it's been out a year and a half or 2 years, it doesn't have to come out immediately. Just give us a chance to own it at some
That's
point.
right.
Same with
I agree.
Disney. Like so much stuff on Disney you can't own physically.
Mhm. I know. It just seems kinda messed up, to be quite honest. It really, really does, man.
Yeah. And I've gotten to the point where if something comes out streaming, it's like in my mind, I don't even consider it like a real movie or TV show if it doesn't have a physical release. Because it's like, why get attached to it if they can just
Yeah,
pull it away whenever they want and then it doesn't exist anymore?
it's a good
So
point. It's a good point. Adrian saying, "Ken, what's your favorite Arrow release this year?"
um I don't really think it gets much better than this box set they put out. This Enter the Video Store box set
Oh, that's
from Arrow
beautiful.
Video. And it's got I don't know if you're familiar with it or not.
I've heard I don't have it, but yeah, I've heard about it.
But it's got Arena, Dolls, Dungeon
Yeah.
Master, Robot Jock, Cellar Dweller, which I enjoyed all of them. They're not like, the most notable horror movies or anything. Well, actually, only
Mhm.
two of them are really I would classify as horror movies. The other ones are kind of fantasy adventure.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think this is awesome. Awesome set from Arrow Video
Very cool.
for
It
sure.
looks awesome too, man.
Um, as far as like a 4K, they did a really good release of The Lighthouse. Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse.
Mhm.
And that looked great. And it had like an entirely brand new documentary on it as well. Uh,
Wow.
that they did for the Arrow release. So I thought that
Very
was
cool.
great.
Nice, nice. Hey, Melissa, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Jason saying, I love that Rambo steelbook collection in your background. I got the same one. I couldn't get it in Canada. Fortunately, a friend sent me it. Very cool.
Somebody sent me that as well because that was sold out. It's still sold out.
It's crazy,
Um,
man.
yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
that one went very quickly. I'm
Yeah,
surprised they haven't put it back in stock though.
I
'Cause,
know. Yeah, it's a very famous and well-known franchise,
yeah, I'm still waiting for a Rocky collection like that.
That would be so cool, man. I love
all,
Rocky. Rocky's
all
my
we got.
favorite movie character.
Oh yeah, same. That's probably my favorite franchise now. I would have said Star Wars, 10 years ago, but like they ruined all that for me.
Yeah, yeah, they did. You're right. I feel the same way.
But this is all we got for Rocky. They did some Best Buy exclusive steelbooks, but I don't know. And it's just
Yeah.
1 through 4. They didn't put 5 or Balboa in there.
Oh man,
And
it's
they're
crazy.
they're talking about releasing like an entire collection of them all this year, but I don't know. I think it deserves like a big, massive like steelbook premiere box set.
I agree. I absolutely agree. No doubt. Very cool. Jason saying, I've never been able to find a physical copy of the OG Evil Dead except in a box set with two, the remake and Army of Darkness. Very expensive. The only streaming service I've seen it on is Vudu for sale. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that it was only on Vudu.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow.
He's talking about the Evil Dead?
Yeah. Yep.
That I mean that has a steelbook, I think.
Or no, Evil Dead, the original.
Okay. I gotcha. The Evil
Yeah.
Dead? The first one,
Or
right?
yeah. I'm assuming that's what he meant. Yeah.
1981 one? It's
Yeah.
got it got a 4K release a few years ago. And it has a steelbook. I think it's still on Amazon for like $7.50 or something.
That looks awesome, man.
You should
Very cool.
still be able to get it. Or I don't know necessarily. Maybe he's in another country. I don't know.
It looks awesome though. My gosh. I don't have it. I don't have it myself. I've only got the DVD of it.
They released a big I think he was talking about that, the box set with 2. The box set had 2 and Ash versus Evil Dead, I think.
Oh, okay.
The TV series. They didn't
Mhm.
include Army of Darkness or the remake though.
Wow. That's crazy. They gotta stop doing that type of stuff, man.
Yeah. That box set was awesome though, but
Hey,
I couldn't
Chris
justify getting it. I couldn't
hey,
justify getting it.
Chris is in the chat. What's up, man? Good to see you.
What's up, Christian?
He said, "Mid-level media on here. How'd you afford him?"
Son of a bitch.
Right. Right. Ah, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. That was good.
We'll
SBC,
negotiate the
what's up?
payment
Good to see
after the stream.
you. Right.
The terms haven't been agreed upon yet.
That's right. And then also an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
Oh man. Jason saying when Rocky turns 50 years old, do you think they will do something? You would think so. I hope so.
Yeah, when's that? 3 years?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yep.
but I mean, who knows like where Warner Brothers is going to be at that point. Feels like they've gotten a little bit lazy with some of their releases recently. And they're the ones that have Nightmare. I mean,
Yep.
that's the holdout for us waiting on, the Nightmare box set or Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K, which I'm sure is going to be next year. They're going to do something
Man,
for
I
it, but
hope so.
I don't think we're getting the Scream Factory box set that we all want.
Mhm.
I honestly think we're going to just get something like Rocky. It's probably going to be a little pack like this with 1 through New Nightmare on it or something.
Wow. It's crazy.
I don't see them doing like a steelbook set. They did the Superman steelbook set, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't see them valuing Nightmare on Elm Street that highly, even though they should. I
They
just don't see them.
should.
I don't see. If they treated Rocky like that, like I feel like they would treat Freddy the same way.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. We definitely need something for Freddy, though. There's no doubt, man. Seriously. Dan said, I might do the Rocky run in Philly this year. Nice. That's awesome. David saying, Ken, I'm jealous that you got that Exorcist 50th anniversary box set from Amazon UK.
Yeah, somebody messaged me the link like as soon as it went up on Monday.
Yeah.
And I jumped on it immediately.
Nice.
Immediately. But I missed out on the Steelbook because I wanted to double dip and get them both, even though I didn't need to.
Right.
But
But
that
you got to
Steelbook
do that
was
for The
nice.
Exorcist.
Yeah, I'm triple dipping. Slipcover, Steelbook,
Right.
big box set release from the UK. I got to get everything.
Did you see the trailer for the new Exorcist?
Yeah, I hated it. I saw Oppenheimer on Sunday night.
Nice.
I went after work, which I'd never do that kind of stuff. But I was like, I gotta see this damn movie. Like everybody's talking about. I saw Barbie this week too. So the Exorcist trailer played before the movie started, and when it came on, like I had heard it was playing in front of the movie, but I forgot all about it. And I was like, what is this generic horror movie playing in front of Oppenheimer? And then all of a sudden I heard the music. And I saw Linda Blair picture. And I was like, son of a bitch. It's like garbage. No, it looks, fine. It just doesn't look up to the quality of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I've had too many of my favorite horror franchises ruined. And I'm just very skeptical of David Gordon Green and Blumhouse and The Machine, trilogy. It's like all the ingredients for disaster.
Yeah. Well, it's first of all, the thing about The Exorcist is there's such a charm to it. There's a grittiness to it. I mean, William Friedkin just did a fantastic job with that movie, but it's also what the movie is as well. When that movie came out, it was groundbreaking, and ever since it's been out, it's been imitated countless times. You know what I mean? So there's a certain you lose that excitement about it in a way as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, what are you going to do to break new ground?
Right.
And not feel like just all the stuff that copied your franchise 50 years ago.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
And it's like, I don't know.
I mean, I'm still going to go see
There's not one girl being possessed. There's two. Like, you got to do better than that. You got to do better than that.
I'm still going to see it out of curiosity.
Yeah, I haven't
Huh?
seen we haven't seen the movie, to be fair. It's could
Right.
be great. Um,
Well,
I'm just
y
not hopeful, and
yeah.
yeah. I don't wanna rain on people's parade because a lot of people seem to enjoy it and they're excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, there are some folks out there that, they don't have that connection to the original like we do, and so for
Yeah.
them, they're kinda in the middle, they've heard of the original, maybe they checked it out once or twice, but we lived it, so to speak, as big fans of it. So for those people, definitely there's an excitement. I mean, put it this way, I don't think it's gonna be better than the original. I think it's almost impossible for that to happen, but
No way.
I don't I don't think it's gonna be an absolute crap show like some people think it's gonna be. There's some people in my comments, they'll say, "This is gonna be the worst thing that's ever been put to in cinema." And I'm like, "Okay, come on, let's
No, no,
slow
no.
down a little bit." I think it might be decent,
Be
it
fine.
could be good, but I think it's gonna be more like decent, you know?
Yeah,
But we'll
I think
see,
you're right. I think you're
Yeah.
right.
I mean, one thing's for sure, when you sit there and say you're gonna do a sequel to The Exorcist, you better have at least supreme confidence in what you're doing, or else why even try to tackle that? I mean, one of the holy grails of horror movies, So they
Yeah, I
must
mean,
have
we're
thought they had
it's
something good.
yeah, I mean, this no disrespect to Halloween, but The Exorcist is not Halloween. You
Oh
can't you
no,
can't
well,
approach it in the
exactly.
same way, and the
That's
fact that
right.
he's following up, the Halloween trilogy right straight into this, I don't know, I'm just not
Mhm.
optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a totally different lane that you travel in when you're talking about The Exorcist versus Halloween. Because, with Halloween, number one, you're working with a lot of nostalgia with Jamie Lee Curtis, number one. Now I know they're bringing back Ellen Burstyn, and that's great, but it's different because of what the story was,
Yeah.
in the original Exorcist. So, in other words, he can't use the same tricks, because they're two totally different types of movies. So I totally agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, though. I'm so curious about it. It's not even funny. I'm like just getting my popcorn ready to see how this thing is
Yeah.
going to go. It's crazy.
I said, because me and my wife kind of talked about the trailer on our channel this week, and I was like, I'm not even gonna see this damn movie. Boycott. Screw it. And then she told me this week, she goes, "Well, I watched the trailer and I actually think it looks pretty good, so we're gonna go see it." I'm like, "Oh, damn it, I guess I'm gonna go see it."
Oh man, you know what? You're gonna have to make a big to do about it. Like as far
Yeah.
as after you guys see it, which one of you were closer to being right, because
Yeah.
that'll be pretty
But
cool to see.
I don't she says she's seen The Exorcist. She remembers parts of it, but I don't think she's seen it in its entirety.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to make her watch the whole thing. And The Heretic before we go.
Now listen, let me just say, because some people know, I was a kid when I saw The Heretic.
I haven't seen it actually.
Okay, well, you may not want to. It's not a great movie. It's not. It's totally not. But it's a movie that every once in a while I'll watch. I mean, I haven't seen it probably in I don't know, maybe 2-3 years, but every once in a while I'll watch it just for the fun of it because it was something I saw as a kid, and it was kind of part of that Exorcist phenomenon for me because the original movie scared the crap out of me, and so when I got a chance to see the second movie, it was on TV, of course, but I was a kid. I didn't know any better, but you know, but it's
Yeah.
not a great movie. It's not. 3 is great. I love 3.
Yeah, 3's really good.
Yeah.
That's yeah, I just the 2's the only one I haven't seen because I remember
Oh,
seeing the prequel movies like in theaters when they came out,
yeah, they weren't good either,
and they were
man.
both just very mediocre.
Yeah, yeah.
But the third one I watched recently, probably within the last couple of years, because I
Mhm.
heard everybody start to praise it. I feel like it started to get a lot of buzz, like, out of nowhere, and it just
Yeah.
got a 4K release too.
Mm,
Um, but that movie is like I don't even know if I would call it an Exorcist movie. Like, yeah, there's the
true.
connection, but it doesn't
Mhm.
feel like an Exorcist movie. It feels more like a David Fincher movie, like, for
Yeah.
most of it, like
Mhm.
Zodiac or something.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit of that they throw the Exorcist stuff in, like, the last 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
but it's an incredible movie.
Yeah, it is. Now, David has a different viewpoint on this. He's saying The Exorcist is not Halloween, which gives me hope.
Yeah.
The Exorcist seems to be more in Green's wheelhouse. Well, there you go. It,
Yeah.
it might be. It might be all right.
Is Danny McBride still writing his
He's still a
stuff?
part of it. Yeah, he's a part of it. Yep.
Yeah. I just hope they don't inject a bunch of forced comedy
I
bits and
know. If
stuff
they
in
were
this one.
smart, they wouldn't, man. I mean, if, even for someone that's not like hardcore, you just watch The Exorcist. Just sit down and really pay attention to that movie.
Gets
And
under your skin.
yeah, and that's what you'd want from a movie that is supposed to be, a sequel to it. You got to at least try to reach those heights. You probably won't reach them, but you got to aim for those type of heights because it's a movie that's very powerful in so many ways, beyond just the possession part of it. It was powerful in a lot of ways, even without that. The whole idea of, Karras and losing his faith and Marin and, dealing with this adversary that was so powerful and that he had known about years before, and you
Yeah.
know, um, Chris trying to save her daughter, and how can she do it? She doesn't understand what's going on with her daughter, so the whole mother-daughter thing going on. There was a lot of great stuff in that movie that wasn't even anything about the possession part. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I
yeah,
will say, like, I can see how you get that from because I feel like Halloween Ends. I know not a lot of people like that one, but the vibe of that I think is more in line with The Exorcist than
yeah,
Halloween.
yeah.
So
True. Yep, no
maybe in
doubt.
his mind he had his mind on The Exorcist when he made Halloween Ends. That's why it was so kind of weird and out there.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, no doubt.
Did you like that movie?
This is how I look at it. I enjoyed a lot of the pieces of it.
Yeah.
But the whole thing together, I think, had some missed opportunities. And I think it could have been some things that could have corrected it. It would have been fairly easy to do. Um, and I won't get into all that because people, they've heard me talk about it many, many times. But if they had done a couple things differently, I think it would have worked better as an end of the trilogy. See, that's the problem for me is I don't think it's a good end for the trilogy.
Just
If
came
you
out of
if it
nowhere.
was Yeah, yeah. If it was a standalone movie, I think people would see a lot more merit in it, because you're introducing a character at the end of your trilogy. If he was a character that was presented to us beforehand, number one, I think that would have been better. And we also would have
Yeah.
cared more about Corey, they tried to cram so much into the movie because he's introduced, we see his issues, he meets Michael, and then he's turning to the dark side. And it's like I don't have time to really get invested into
Yeah.
him.
It's almost like
So,
that movie maybe should have been the second movie, and
yep,
then they should have had a continuation of that in the same night, maybe
that's exactly what I've said.
for the for
That
the
should have been
third.
this. Yep, that should have been the second movie, and then Kills should have been, at least
Just
some
wipe
element of
Kills from the
Kills.
planet.
Yeah. Yes,
Because
that's right.
I hated that movie, like, with a
I know you
burning
did.
passion. So by the time I got to Ends, I was just like, I don't care what happens anymore. I was like, I'm just gonna have fun listening to everybody complain about whatever happens or
Yeah.
whatever. Because I knew it was
People are
gonna be kind of
passionate
weird
too.
from the trailer. So everybody turns out they hated it, and I was just kind of like, yeah. I thought parts of it were cool. I thought they should have just
Yeah.
had Corey, kill him,
Yeah.
kill Michael, and just take his mask and take over. They should have
Yeah, I
went all the
mean,
way with it. Felt like they
yeah,
got
well,
chickened
because
out.
yeah, they really leaned heavy in that direction because Michael wasn't physically in the movie that much, and I honestly thought when I saw it that that's where it was gonna lead to, but no, instead, he gets killed by Michael, and then Michael gets killed by Laurie. It's like, wait, and it was just too not enough time to care about it as much as you should have, watching the movie.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man. But one thing's for sure, it has a lot of passionate people on both sides of the fence because I've seen it in my comments. There are people that, are diehard defenders of it, and then there's, mostly people having issues with it, and some absolutely hating it more than anything they've ever seen in their lives. Which is crazy, but it is what it is, man.
It's always funny when you see a movie like that get that kind of hate. I'm like,
Yeah.
how many movies have you seen?
I know.
Some really bad
It's
movies out there.
bro, there are some movies.
I've watched a movie straight from the Dollar Tree before.
Yeah, man. There are some movies. I mean, we do movies, like we do Slasher Movie Club on Monday nights, and so we've watched a lot of slasher films, especially from the early 80s. And there's been some movies that, and part of it is because it's obviously low budget, but also people trying to, you know, make their breakthrough into filming,
Yeah.
and so there's some of those movies that you can't even watch it because it's just that bad, you know.
Yeah.
So when you have
That's the
that
kind
type
of
of
stuff
perspective,
that Vinegar Syndrome puts out on 4K.
Vinegar Syndrome is so cool though. I love
I
Vinegar
know.
Syndrome.
They can polish up a turd and put it out in nice
They
packaging, and I'll be excited about it because it looks so damn cool.
right, it's
I like that.
true.
Going back to the special features, like there's been a couple of them that I watched and I was like, oh, this is not good at all. But then I'll watch they do like a 90-minute documentary talking about the making of it. And I'll be like, you know what? I actually kind of like that movie
Yeah,
after I watched the
yeah.
documentary.
Well, it does kind of change your mind a little bit. It gives you more perspective and more understanding, and then sometimes better appreciation. That's why I like, for a lot of movies, even if I'm not a big fan of them, I try not to get too crazy. I mean, I like to poke fun, but for a lot of these movies, they're trying the best with what they've got, and not everyone has, unlimited, supply of whatever equipment or money or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting though.
Yeah,
Very,
for
very
sure.
cool. Hey, Eric's in the chat. What's going on? My buddy. Then you need to see The Exorcist 2 just to see the weird fever dream that it
Yeah.
is.
It's got a scream factor, and I remember seeing it at FYE one time, and I was like, I've heard horrible things about this, and it was like $25. I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah. Yep.
I need to grab it though eventually. I don't feel like anybody will do a 4K of that.
Yep. What's up, Katie? Katie's in the chat. Good to see you too. All right. Eric saying, so far, to me, anything I've seen concerning the Exorcist Believer just seems like any exorcism movie I can currently watch on a streaming service, but with a cameo from Ellen Burstyn. There
Yeah.
you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And David saying, I think they should have just kept Cameron alive and had him play the Corey storyline. Yeah.
You know that guy that played Cameron was in the movie Oppenheimer?
Really?
And he was really good in that movie too. It
Nice.
was like, yeah, this guy's got some real range. So
yeah, I do want to see Oppenheimer. I've
'cause he
heard so
annoyed
many great things.
Oh, it's freaking I'm not even a big Nolan fanboy. I kind of think he's a little overrated and with certain there's some people that just like hold him up to here, and I'm just like, oh, come on, Inception's not that great. But I was blown away by that movie. I thought it was freaking one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Great movie.
Wow. Very cool. Very, very cool.
But yeah, that Cameron
Eric
kind of
saying,
annoyed the piss out of me in the Halloween movies, but when he showed up in Oppenheimer, I was like, oh, not this kid.
He
But
did.
he was freaking awesome.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I definitely can't wait to see it. Hopefully I get a chance to see it, hopefully in the next week or two. But it looks amazing. It totally does, from the trailers and stuff. And then everything I've heard,
Oh yeah, it's it leaves you in a weird mental space, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I bet. Eric saying, if either Kills or Ends are the worst movies you've ever seen, you've missed so many 80s slashers or anything from Wild Eye releasing. So much worse out there. It's true.
Yeah.
Good point, man. Well, look, man, we're getting to the point here where I've had you on for a long time, and first of all, we've covered a lot of stuff, man. And for the people in the chat, they've been asking some amazing questions. But as we wind down here, what do you, if you have anything you'd like to share with us, what do you have coming up? Anything special or anything in the future that you're looking to try for your channel, or channels, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have ideas and stuff. Nothing that's really formed into anything as of right now. I'm kind of just doing the same old that I've always been doing.
Mhm.
I got reviews and stuff coming out this weekend. I've got I got this Western that I'm gonna have a review of this weekend, Rio Bravo. See, I
Oh,
don't
that's
just
a
talk about
classic.
horror, I also talk about, John Wayne Westerns as
Mhm.
well. This one I just
Classic.
checked out too, My Best Friend's a Vampire. This was a lot of fun. I don't know
Oh,
if I'm
that's
gonna
an
do
oldie.
I don't know if I'm gonna do a full review for it, but I really
Mhm.
enjoyed that one. But no, just I like I said, I like to keep people informed in what's happening in physical media. I'll have my August preview this weekend as well, talking about all the 4K and Blu-ray titles coming out in the month
Mhm.
of August, and the review of Rio Bravo, and yeah, just try to keep things going, try to keep cranking away, and
Mm.
try my best to keep physical media alive, and
Yeah,
keep people
man.
interested and engaged in it. I think that's
Yeah.
super important.
True, true. I mean, I think that it's just nice to have something that you can touch, something that's tangible, that I can just say, "Look, there's my Friday 13th box set, and I wanna watch one of those movies, and I can
Yeah,
just do it anytime I want." You know what I mean? And so you have to keep it alive. I feel like you do.
there's just nothing like it. I mean, you can flip through the streaming services and press play and whatever,
Mhm.
but like I just love the process of picking up the case and taking it out, opening it up, and it's simple,
Yeah.
but taking the disc out, putting it in. I
Yeah.
know some people's like, "Oh god, I gotta put something in to watch it." No. But that's the way we grew up, putting the
That's right.
VHS tapes in, the DVDs. It's like it's just nostalgic, and
Yep.
I don't know. I just love it so much, and I'm glad that I kinda got back into it because there for a little bit, I sold all my DVDs, and I was like, "Alright, it seems like everything's moving to digital, so I'm just gonna build up a digital library," and
Mhm.
after, like, 2 months, I was like, "Ah, to hell with this," went back
Mm.
to buying Blu-rays and stuff.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
almost got away from it, but, it's just important, especially if you want on unaltered versions of the stuff that you love, because it's scary the
Right.
type of stuff that they can do, um,
Yeah.
with the streaming, just going in and editing stuff that you may not even realize till, like,
Right.
10 or 15 years down the road what they
Right.
edited out of your movie.
I heard about
Um
what they did to Splash.
Yeah, Splash, just
Yeah.
taking Daryl Hannah's butt out of it, and,
It's like, "You don't do that. You don't take that away from
yeah,
us."
it's crazy stuff. They did something to, Back to the Future, part 2
Oh.
on Netflix, and they corrected it very quickly. I think they were
Uh-huh.
hoping that people would notice, but they edited out the Ooh La La magazine, uh,
Oh,
and I was like, "What? Why? Like, why why you're Netflix, like, you got all these,
right.
like, horror movies and mature shows. Why do you care
I
about Back to
know.
the Future in a dirty magazine?" I don't know.
Unbelievable.
It's weird.
It's crazy shit, man. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, real quick in the chat, as we wind on down here, Jason was saying, "Thank you, Knight and Ken, for taking the time to spend with us. Awesome stream. Good night to my Nightwatch family. Have an awesome Friday. You too, brother. You
Thank you
too."
for watching, Jason.
Yeah, man. Val, thank you for putting Ken's link in the chat a few times. That's awesome. To you, Ken, for hanging out with us tonight. You're awesome, Val. You're all right.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. David, thank you so much too, man. We appreciate you being here, and great to see you, bro. Great to see you.
Thank you,
Um,
David.
yeah. Ginger Ninja saying just sub to Ken's channel and the first review. So I married an axe murderer. Brilliant. There you go.
It's a fun
Nice.
movie. I hadn't seen that movie in, damn, probably 10 or 15 years. It'd been a long time. I remember watching it all the time when I was a kid, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while either, but I love it. It's a good one.
Yeah.
No doubt. John, thank you. Thank you so much. And great stream tonight. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, we're going to get right head on out here. As always, we appreciate you hanging out with us and so many great questions for Ken. You guys actually took a bunch of mine. That was great. But
Good
make
stuff.
sure you hit the like button. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Hit the like button. And again, if you haven't subscribed to Ken's channel, please do. And I've got the links in the description and leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about some of the conversation. Are you big into physical media? And if not, has this stream helped you to think more about it? Because I do think it's a really important thing. And like Ken said, we grew up at a time of, taking the movies, putting them into the players and watching them. And, I do think that physical media is a very important thing. So I was glad we could have Ken here tonight. So for you
Yeah.
guys watching, thank you.
And despite popular belief, it's not dead and it's not going away. Just moving more online. That's where the market is right now. So there's still plenty of great, cool releases coming out every single week.
Good point. Good point.
Stuff for
All
everyone.
right. Yeah. Well, Ken, I'll let you hold on for 1 second while I play the outro, and we'll check backstage with each other. But for the rest of you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.
See y'all.